What is going on, guys, and welcome to CSS tutorial. In this video we're actually going to return to selectors that we used in CSS, because obviously we know the most basic one. The only thing we have to do is actually write the name of the element or the class or ID. However, I just want to show you a couple of other ways how we can actually select the elements that are, let's say, nested within the element, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a div over here, and within that div, let's say I'm just going to say that I would want a couple of paragraphs, and I'm just going to say I am paragraph. Very basic. This is I am paragraph, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I don't know, copy it 2 times, right? So what if I would want it explicitly to say that I want these 2 paragraphs? And what I'm going to do over here, I'm just going to create a rule over here for this div. I'm just going to create a rule that it has a border so we can see what is happening. Border 2 pixels solid red, right? But let's say that I would want a background color for these paragraphs, but not for the whole div, just for these 2 paragraphs. So how would I select those 2 paragraphs, right? So this is actually called a descendant selector, and what we would need to do in this case, I'm just going to go to main CSS so we can see how we're doing in main CSS. So what I would do over here, I would write div, and then I would write a name of element that is basically a descendant that I want to affect, and you can see right away how it is selecting that, right? So I would go over here and I would say that I would want that descendant to be background color, basically a yellow, let's say, right? Or yellow green, right? So now you can see that these 2 are descendants, that both paragraphs are within the div element. And it would even work, let's say, if we go over here back to the index, and if let's say I would create a span element over here, the inline element, and I would say that within that inline element that still would be a paragraph, and let's say I am paragraph, right? Still I would say I am paragraph, and you can see that it's right away creating a green line because it is still descendant. It is related to the div element. It is within the div element. So if we want to, let's say, select all the paragraphs, or it would be headings or anything, we just write a space over here. We write first what we are actually selecting, in this case it's div, and then we are writing what type of element it would be, right? Now there's another type which is actually a child selector, and let me show you how the child selector works. So we would use the angle bracket over here, and you can see what's happening. That if I go over here and I'm just going to continue this text, I am paragraph, but you can see that this one is not selected right now because it's not a paragraph that is a child, because it's nested within the span. So technically this paragraph is a child element of a span, not a div. It is descendant to the div. It is within this div, but it's not directly. Now let's look at another one, which is a adjacent sibling selector, and then there's going to be a general sibling selector. So let's say that over here, if we create let's say a couple of more paragraphs, right? But you can see they're not nested within this div. So I'm just going to say I am paragraph, right? Something like this. So this is paragraph, and I'm just going to copy it 2 times, right? So what I would want to do is, if I just want to select these 2 paragraphs, right? So I'm going to go back again to main CSS so we can see, and I'm just going to get rid of this for now. And what I would want to write is, actually I would want to write a plus sign, and that means that this is going to be a first paragraph that is actually after the div. So if I'm writing this plus sign over here, this is going to be the first paragraph that I'm selecting, not the second, not the paragraphs within, but actually the first sibling. So technically it's a sibling, it's not a child, it's not a descendant, but it's the first sibling over here. And if I would want to write, let's say, in general, like let's say all the siblings to this div element over here, I would write something like this. So you can see that I'm using this above the tab sign, and let's say if I would go back over here, this one is above the tab sign if we use, and if I just go back over here and let's say that I'm just going to create a heading over here, and I'm gonna say I am heading, you can see that it's not getting a background because we haven't selected it. We just said that we want all the siblings over here, the general siblings that are after the div, that are paragraphs, not the ones that are headings. And this is gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next video.